this is Joe from Mountain Beach Running Club, and here's a few tips on nutrition for marathon runners, ultra runners and athletes in general. This video is really talking about the nutrition that you have during your everyday. So it's not race nutrition specific. We're not talking about during a race or your recovery meal. This is just most of your time, Monday to Sunday, the nutrition that you have and the way you fuel yourself. So nutrition is one of the most important things that you need to focus on as an athlete. It's not just about training, it's not just about strength or endurance, stamina. Nutrition is right up there, and I would say that nutrition is probably 70-80% of your results and 80% of your focus as an athlete. So the reason that nutrition is so important is because nutrition, if you get it right, it can make your race, and if you get it wrong, it can break your race. So it's a really important thing to look at if you want to get the best from yourself. So the main thing that people worry about with nutrition is there's so many conflicting messages out there. So depending on where you look for messages, especially on the internet, there are tons of different ideas on what you should be doing, and they'll tell you have to do this or you have to do that. You've got people talking about paleo diets, vegan, vegetarian diets, high carb, low carb, high fat, low fat, high protein, low protein. It can get really confusing. So obviously everyone has a different idea of the correct way to eat as an athlete and the correct way to fuel your body. I can only really talk about what I do and what I recommend to my athletes. And what I do is I focus on a plant-based diet. So if that's not something that you want to hear about, maybe stop this video. But for me, I've tried eating meat, I've tried high processed food, I've tried high fat, I've tried low carb, I've tried pretty much everything. And over the last 5 years or so, I've been getting closer and closer towards a fully vegan, plant-based diet. And that can put a lot of people off, I appreciate that, but you know, there's two types of diet in my opinion. Ones that work and ones that don't work. And in terms of getting lean, in terms of getting good performance, I find eating a lot of plant food has really worked for me. So the core of my diet is fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, legumes, and I try to keep it whole food. So I try to keep, you know, away from the processed food, away from the tin food, away from any food that is high sodium or contains things that I don't need. So I don't really need fat, I don't really need salt and sodium unless I'm actually in an event and I'm looking for electrolyte replacement. And I think I focus the sort of day-to-day stuff is fruit for breakfast, big salad for lunch, and then a big carby rice, potato, pasta, couscous, quinoa kind of dinner. And obviously that's not every single day. There are days where I just really want to have some tacos or some burgers or some pizza. But what I try and do is cook a healthier version of those with less processed food, less salt, less oil, if any. And I try to make it mushroom burgers instead of meat burgers, obviously because I don't eat meat or fish. I try to have pizza with no cheese and do really nice topping with really good base, and that helps me get rid of any sort of boring monotony in my diet. So I try and keep it interesting, but as close to whole foods, unprocessed, plant-based diet as possible. Breakfast is 5 or 6 bananas most days for me. I've tried different ways of doing breakfast, I've tried different fruits. Bananas just agree with me really well. They're 90% carbs, 5% protein, you know, very low fat. They're hydrating foods. They fill me with energy, and they really seem to work for me as an athlete and a runner. The more bananas I can eat in the morning, the better really. So if, on the days where I have 3 or 4 bananas, I end up getting hungry halfway through the morning. So I try to get sort of 6, 7 if I can. Even if they're big bananas, I aim for 6 or 7. Before I actually have my breakfast, I usually go for a run, and I have sort of pre-breakfast before I go for my run, which is 500 ml of water and 1 banana. And that just sets me up for my run, kickstarts my metabolism, gets some hydration in, and really sets me up for that run before I have breakfast after the run. Lunch, I have a big tofu salad. I seem to have got into a habit of going to a place called Banana Blossom in Manly, and those guys are brilliant. They make the best salads. and I either go for a triple chili tofu salad, a Buddha Delight salad, or a New York tofu salad, and that's really, really good. Again, really big salads. They're not tiny little bowls, they're big fruit bowl size salads, and that really fuels me at lunchtime and gives me lots and lots of greens. The greens seem to work for me. I love leafy greens for lunch. It stops me feeling bloated, and it stops me from getting that full kind of lethargic feeling that sometimes you get in the afternoon with a big lunch. And then for dinner, I'll either have potato salad, rice, pasta, something carby, something satiating. I know a lot of people say not to eat carbs in the evening, but for me it works really well. There's a saying that plant-based athletes have and plant-based diet people have, which is if you eat lots of carbs in the evening, you look like Buddha but wake up looking like Gandhi, and you wake up really skinny. And I found that works quite well. I think contrary to popular opinion about carbs in the evening, I tend to wake up really skinny the next day. So although I fill my belly in the evening with carbs, sort of I try and have my dinner about 6 p.m, 7 p.m. if I can, and despite that I seem to wake up skinny and feeling quite lean. So that's my 7 days a week. I obviously slip up from time to time and I have maybe, you know, a little bit of processed food here and there, but 95% of the time, almost 100%, let's say 90% if I'm being really generous, really honest, I think 90% of the time I'm eating whole foods, plant-based, fruit in the morning, leafy salad, leafy greens for lunch, and then a carby dinner. So my diet is plant-based. It's very similar to Rich Roll, Scott Jurek, Tim Shieff, some really popular athletes out there that are doing fantastic things on this kind of diet. And all of them are holding records and smashing records. Tim Shieff is an American ninja. Scott Jurek won the Western States 7 times in a row and just got the record for the Appalachian Trail, which is from South America. I think it's from Mexico all the way up to the border with Canada and Maine. So these guys are achieving amazing things with this kind of diet. So really what I'm doing is I'm copying what these incredible athletes are doing and just emulating their eating habits. So that's worked really well for me. So here's 4 things that I try to focus on that might help you. 1, eat more fruit. Fruit is really good for you. It's hydrating. You know, it's going to, especially if you live in a hot climate, it's accessible, you can grab it, it's easy to find, but it's hydrating, so it'll stop you getting dehydrated. Eat more fruit, especially in the morning. 2, eat more greens. Greens are full of protein, they're gonna make you feel good. The people that are eating lots of meat for protein, I can see where they're coming from, but instead of putting your green, leafy plants through an animal, just go straight to the source and get those really good leafy greens. You'll get more protein in your diet. 3, avoid processed food and tin food. Try and eat whole foods. That way you're going to get away from high sodium, you're going to get away from high fat, you're going to get away from chemicals, high fructose corn syrup, E-numbers. You want whole foods, get as close to whole foods as you can and you'll feel much better, you'll be much fitter and much leaner. And 4, if you want to get lean, if you really want to get healthy, water. Water has got to be your most important nutrient. I know people talk about protein and omegas and iron and B12. These are all important nutrients, but the most important nutrient you can get, the most important thing you can put in your diet, even if it's not classed as a nutrient, is water. You've got to get more water. It's really going to help you get fit and lean out, and it's certainly going to help your performance. There's a reason that people in, you know, high professional athletes have water in press conferences and they're sipping that water. It's because they know their performance is related to their hydration levels. So more water is going to help you. So if you can follow those 4 rules or those 4 guides, not really rules but guides, 90 to 95% of the time, so 95% of your Monday to Sunday, 95% of your week, then you're really going to see improvements in your performance and you're going to see improvements in your results. And your results could be related to a race, they could be related to aesthetics and how you want to look, or they could just be related to your next big event or your next, you know, target this year. So follow those 4 guides. give that a go, see how you go. Hope this helps, and look, have a great day. Happy running. Bye.